You know that sinking feeling when you glance at the clock and, oh no, you realize you're late? We've all been there. It's super stressful, right? But knowing the right thing to say can make all the difference. In this explainer, we are going to break down exactly how to talk about being late in English so you can handle it like a pro.
So, picture this. You're rushing into a really important meeting, maybe 15 minutes late. Every single eye in the room turns to you. Yikes. What do you say? It's a tough spot, for sure. But we're about to give you the perfect phrases for moments just like this.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the fact that, hey, running late happens. Then we'll build your essential I'm late toolkit. After that, we'll tackle how to describe that dreaded traffic jam, get into why punctuality is actually kind of complicated, and wrap it all up with how to communicate with confidence.
First up, let's just acknowledge the inevitable. Because let's be real, it doesn't matter how organized you are, running late is something that happens to absolutely everyone.
You know, a lot of the anxiety that comes with being late is just from not knowing how to handle it gracefully. But here's the secret. Having the right words ready to go doesn't just explain why you're late. It takes a huge weight off your shoulders, and most importantly, it shows respect for the people who are waiting on you.
So with that in mind, let's build your I'm late toolkit. We're going to start with 3 core phrases that you could pretty much use in any situation. First up is running late. This is the perfect phrase to use the second you realize you're not going to make it on time. It's proactive. You aren't there yet, but you're letting them know, hey, I'm aware of the delay and I'm on my way.
So for example, you could shoot someone a quick text that says, "Traffic is really bad, so I'm running late." It's simple, it's clear, and it's probably the most common way to signal that you've been held up.
Okay, but what if something totally unexpected holds you up? Well, that's where "got tied up" comes in handy. This phrase implies that you were delayed by something important that you couldn't just walk away from. It kind of suggests the delay was mostly out of your control. This one is a lifesaver in a professional setting. Saying, "Sorry I'm late, I got tied up with a client," tells your team you were busy doing important work, not just, grabbing coffee. It's a totally valid reason for a delay. And our third key phrase is "ran over." This is super specific for when a previous appointment or a meeting just lasts longer than it was supposed to. It perfectly explains one of those chain reaction delays. For instance, my last meeting ran over, but I'm on my way now. This tells everyone exactly what happened. Your previous commitment went long. It's a really common and understandable situation in any busy workday. Now let's talk about the #1 most classic excuse of all time, the dreaded traffic jam. We've all used it, right? But let's look at some ways to talk about it that sound a little more descriptive.
So we all know the basic term, traffic jam. You know, a long line of cars, either at a complete standstill or just crawling along. But we can be more specific, and that helps paint a much clearer picture. These phrases really tell a story. So it might start with a pileup. That's an accident with a bunch of cars. That pileup then causes traffic to get backed up for miles, creating this massive line of cars. And what's the end result for you? You are officially stuck in traffic, and you literally can't move. Using these specific terms just gives your explanation a lot more weight. So, we've got the phrases down, but let's dig into a deeper question. Why is being on time so critical in some places, but not a huge deal in others? Well, it turns out that punctuality is complicated, because our whole idea of time isn't the same everywhere.
The idea of being on time is actually really cultural. What one country considers on time for a business meeting might be seen as ridiculously early for a dinner party in another. Getting a feel for these little differences is super important.
Let's just look at a quick comparison. For instance, the attitude toward time can be pretty different between many North American and Latin American cultures. Now, of course, these are just general tendencies. They're not strict rules for everybody. This table is a great example of what I mean. In North America, if a work meeting is at 9 a.m., it starts at 9 a.m. sharp. But in some Latin American contexts, it's kind of understood that things might get going closer to 9:15 or even 9:30. And the same goes for social stuff. For a 6 p.m. dinner, a North American might show up just a few minutes after 6, while in parts of Latin America, arriving at 6:30 or even 7 p.m. can be totally normal.
Okay, so how do we pull all of this together? In our final section, let's focus on how to move past just making excuses and really start communicating with genuine confidence.
All right, let's do a super quick recap of our new toolkit. You're running late when you know you won't be on time. You got tied up by something important. A previous meeting ran over. And a pileup can get traffic backed up, leaving you stuck. These are your go-to phrases.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. At the end of the day, using these phrases isn't about dodging blame. It's about being a clear, thoughtful, and respectful communicator. It shows people that you value their time, even when things go a little sideways.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world where delays are pretty much inevitable, what really matters more? Chasing the impossible goal of perfect punctuality or mastering the achievable skill of honest communication? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.